Hey everyone, my name is Blake Cadwell. I'm the co-founder at Soundly.com, and today we are going to take a field trip to Costco. The reason we're doing that is that Costco has one of the most well-known hearing aid dispensing programs in the United States. In fact, 1 in 10 Americans who wear a hearing aid actually get their hearing aids at Costco. I'm going to take you through the entire process, show you what it looks like to get a hearing test, the products available, and some of the pros and cons of getting hearing aids at Costco. Let's get into it. So if you're considering getting hearing aids at Costco, you probably have a few different questions. You might be wondering about which products are available, and you might also wonder how the process actually works. So let's start there. We'll start with the process. When I went through my process, I simply called my local club on the phone. I asked for the hearing aid department, and I asked about available times for a hearing test. So I booked a hearing test. I think it took about a week for them to have an open availability. I showed up during that time, and the experience really started at that point. Now, it's worth mentioning that technically, in order to purchase hearing aids at Costco, you need to have a Costco membership, which at a baseline is around $60 a year. In some locations, you can actually take a hearing test without being a member, but you'll definitely need a membership in order to purchase products. On the day of my appointment, I showed up at Costco and walked right in the middle of the technology department, the clothes, the food, the pallets. If you've been in Costco, you know what I'm describing. It's quite a scene. And obviously, Costco does not just sell hearing aids, they sell all kinds of things. So it took me a second to orient myself and to figure out where the hearing aid center was. I ultimately found it near the pharmacy, and I walked up and told them I was ready for my appointment. I was asked to fill out some basic paperwork and then sat in the waiting room for about 5 minutes while I waited for my sound booth to become available. When it was available, I was invited inside a sound-treated room, so the din of the Costco suddenly fell away. It was very quiet inside of this sound-treated room, and my hearing test began. The first step of the Costco hearing test measures your ability to hear pure tones or beeps in either ear. So I had a foam headphone put into each of my ears, and I listened closely, and if I heard the beep, I clicked the button. If I did not hear the beep, I did not click the button. Pretty straightforward. The next step was to test my ability to hear in noise. So I was delivered words within different varying levels of background noise. The Costco representative also tested my ability to hear through bone conduction. So they placed a vibrating bone conductor on the back of my head and played some sounds through that bone conduction device to see if I'm able to hear in that way as well. Overall, the test was virtually the same as the ones that I've taken in audiology offices. After the test was complete, I took the earbuds and the bone conduction headphones off my head, and I turned towards the computer screen where my results were showing, and I talked with the hearing professional about what she was seeing, and it was very similar to what I've seen in the past. I have a cookie bite hearing loss, so my hearing is pretty good in the lows, pretty good in the highs, and it goes down in the middle. Talked about some of the frequencies I'm missing, some of the consonants I might be missing, and some of the challenges that could create. Now, at this point in the conversation, if this was your first hearing test, this would be the time to talk about whether you need hearing aids or you don't need hearing aids. In my case, I knew I needed hearing aids, so we moved straight on to talking about the available products at Costco. So at the time of this recording, Costco carries 3 brands at all of their clubs. The brands are Philips, Jabra, and Rexton. Now, what's important to understand about Costco is they're actually purchasing these devices from the top manufacturers in the world. So Philips is made by Demont, which also makes the Oticon hearing aids. The underlying technology inside of the Philips hearing aids is a lot like Oticon. Jabra is made by GN, which also owns Resound. So the underlying technology in the Jabra hearing aids is a whole lot like the Resound hearing aids. Hey guys, just a quick note, if you're not close to a Costco or if you prefer telecare, you can also get Jabra hearing aids, pretty much the same technology that's available at Costco through telehealth using Jabra Enhance. I'll drop a link to that brand and that service in the comments below. Now back to the review. And Rexton is manufactured by WS Audiology, which also owns Signia. The technology inside of the Rexton devices are very similar to the Signia devices. You technically can get various form factors of hearing aids at Costco, including in-the-ear hearing aids, custom molded hearing aids, or high-power behind-the-ear hearing aids, but the vast majority of customers end up with a receiver in canal hearing aid. So receiver in canal hearing aid sits behind the ear with a wire that drops up over the top of the ear and a speaker that sits inside the ear. So this is one example. These are the Rexton hearing aids. They look a lot like the Signia hearing aids. You can see it comes in a sleek little charge case. The hearing aid itself has a wire and a receiver on the end that drops down into the ear. So that's the style that almost everyone goes with when they go to Costco. So if you're thinking about getting hearing aids at Costco, you might be wondering, of these three brands, which one is the best? Should I get Rexton? Should I get Philips? Should I get Jabra? The best suggestion I have is that if you have experience wearing hearing aids, go with the brand that you're the most familiar with. In my case, I've spent the most time wearing Resound, so I'd go with Jabra. If you're an Oticon wearer, you might want to try Philips. If you're a Signia wearer, you might want to try Rexton. Now, there are little nuances outside of that that might set these hearing aids apart slightly, but the basic capacities are very similar. They all stream Bluetooth in the same way, they're all rechargeable, and they're all the top of the line technology within their respective brands. So after my full Costco experience, what do I think the pros and cons of going to Costco for hearing aids are? On the pros side, it's pretty obvious that you're going to get a better price at Costco than you'll get almost anywhere else. The technology we've talked about typically runs between $1,500 and $1,800 for a pair of hearing aids and comes with some amazing benefits. Costco will cover loss and damage of one pair. They give you ongoing service, and they give you 6 months to return or swap out your product. Those are really compelling options inside of a very trusted brand. On the con side, there are a few things to consider. The first is the training of the individuals that you'll be interfacing with. At most audiology offices, you're dealing with a doctor, a person that has gone to school for maybe as much as 8 years in order to get that AUD and have a Doctor of Audiology license. At Costco, you're typically dealing with a hearing instrument specialist. That person has trained for maybe a few months or up to a year, but certainly doesn't have the scope and training of an audiologist. So it's just something to weigh out. If your situation is simple and your budget is limited, working with a hearing instrument specialist at Costco is just fine. However, if you feel like your situation is a bit more complex or you have some complicated questions, working with an AUD or someone with more training could be a good idea. Another thing to consider at Costco is the delay in follow-up appointments or repairs. It's worth asking your local club what their average delay is. So if your hearing aids break or you need some kind of adjustment, how long will it take you to get back into that club? We've heard reports from some folks that it can be 3 weeks or a month to get back into their club. In other cases, it's very short. So just check with your local club to make sure you're going to have good access if something happens. Now, Costco is pretty good about giving loaners while they send hearing aids out for repairs, and generally they do right by their customers. But these delays can be challenging and are something that smaller local audiology clinics don't always have the same trouble with. Another downside to working with Costco is that you'll need to be close to a club. Now, most people in America are close to a Costco. If you live in a major metro, you've probably got one somewhere around you. But think about the fact that you'll need to drive there for your test. You'll probably need to drive back for your fitting once the hearing aids arrive and are ready for you. And then you'll need to drive back regularly for updates, tuning, that kind of thing. If the Costco is 60 or 90 miles away, that may become really inconvenient for you over time. Many audiology clinics or telehealth providers can now do a lot of that work remotely so you can stay in your home. Technically, Costco can do some of this, but in most cases, you're going to be asked to come back to the club for any follow-up appointments. The final downside to working with Costco is really a matter of preference, and that is that you'll want to be comfortable with the Costco vibe. You walk into Costco and it's far from a clinic environment. It's loud, there are a lot of people around, people are getting food, they're getting clothing, they're getting items in bulk. If you're comfortable with that, or if you go to Costco all the time, this shouldn't be a big deal. If you'd rather be in a more contained environment, a clinic might be a better solution, or maybe a telehealth provider who can provide that situation in your home via virtual care. So there you have it. That's my hands-on review of the Costco hearing test, the products available at Costco, and the entire experience. I hope you've enjoyed this review. If you have, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. And if you have questions, drop those questions below and I'll be sure to get back to you. Thank you and good luck with your research.